I started this channel because I've been studying philosophy in my life, probably since the early 90s, and it's just a natural progression for me. I'm focused on the philosophy playlist, but I'm building a second playlist that will address, trending topics as they pertain to philosophy. I mean, that's still the niche of the channel. I want to get the channel more in line with YouTube's algorithmic expectation to be searchable in the moment. That's where the views ultimately will come from. That being said, the trending topics I'm picking are topics at the moment that I intend to link to philosophy in some way, meaning academic philosophy. Some add a sort of comment on the mindset of the search for truth while looking at trending topics, and to try to apply some philosophical tools like basic argument building as well as trolley car scenarios and other applied tools. I'll be avoiding anything that appears to be leaning to lecture style stuff. I'm not here to be collegiate or anything like that. I'll be trying to keep it conversational. I'll be trying to keep it all on the entertainment side. And this is for the benefit of academic philosophy itself. A certain amount of reducing the concepts is necessary to maintain a balance between common language and upper level concepts, as well as to meet the effort to benefit that YouTube sort of imposes on you. You don't want to make a video and spend a bunch of time on it, a week, and then get 3 views. So in the beginning, YouTube sort of forces us to be very limited in our video creation. I think 2 a week is basically what you want given the kind of drop off that I see. Eventually, you hire people and you're able to focus and spend more time on a video, and it becomes worth it because you get more views. It's just, if you're not out of YouTube jail, then everything is reduced to almost nothing because you have hundreds of videos you have to post before you see the benefit. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't opportunistically reduce the concepts. They're just generalizations of the concepts. And you can argue forever about whether something was represented correctly in a generalization. You can go on forever. I could spend 6 months making a video and have someone pop out of the woodwork and say I didn't represent it correctly, or I opportunistically left things out. I'm not really doing that. The generalization is just a generalization. And so when I'm talking about the principles, the principles that are in the generalization, most of the time it's true. If a concept dismisses universality, I'm going to attack that. That doesn't mean that somehow, if I read into the weeds of the concept, that they actually support universality. No. I mean, most of these concepts have to be upfront about where they take stands on things, and that's what I attack. I don't do the full context, okay? And a lot of times when you get into the context, people want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to say these are their principles, and then they sort of backtrack after they meet criticism. Relativism is a good criminal for that. No idea is better than any other idea, but there's still room for XYZ. No, there isn't. Okay, so I just attack the general principles. The goal of the channel is to create an intellectual landscape, a really toe in the water kind of thing for people who might not know a lot about philosophy. It's to generate general intrigue in those who may not understand the concepts, or those who are starting to reflect on their own lives and might find interest in the way I did in studying history and philosophy. This channel and the way these things are presented are quick and dirty, but I do expect to get better at the quick and dirty, and maybe even good to the point where it becomes quick, dirty, but also a strong bridge between academic philosophy and those who just want to put their toe in the water before they start the journey. Here's the warning graphic for you guys for the channel. Do not use this channel as an end source for your technical papers. I think for those doing technical papers, it's pretty obvious. This channel is intentionally generalized at the moment. I'm talking only about the most general aspects of the subjects in the most general way that it pertains to universality. Do your exhaustive research. Always do your exhaustive research. The channel's intentionally provoking. It sort of uses the generalizations to save time and promote philosophy in general. Just be aware that it's a goal, not a mistake or something that's being overlooked. It's something that I'm working on the balance with. Let's talk for a second about what the channel is meant to do. The channel is meant to give a flickering wide view of the intellectual landscape over the scope of the entire channel to those who probably won't spend the time to review these things on their own, or those who need the slight nudge to begin a pursuit of truth. The channel is an experiment to attempt to bring philosophy to those who haven't studied it through intrigue. If they can see something using language that's not so clinical that it's boring and reads like a textbook, they may think, I'd like to understand this. I want to talk like this. Whatever their view may turn out to be, at least we've nudged them in the direction of study instead of escapism or echo chamber type bubbles. Just this alone would sustain me on this channel. This channel intends to be a friend for those who wish they had a daily interlocutor that isn't just people blasting each other on the internet. I want to talk about my friend at the end, my favorite discussion partner. This channel is sort of built to meet the effort-reward balance that YouTube requires to keep you from burning out, really. This channel is absolutely not built around growth only. It's probably got a low CPM, I'm not even really sure. I know that's not the point. I would not have picked a subject that's a near impossible sell if I was thinking only of growth. It takes a while to get out of YouTube jail when you're a new channel, and much more so when you have a hard sell topic. What this channel's not meant to do. It's not meant to be a study aid or an end source for information. The philosophy playlist is experimental. I've been accused of not being qualified, being reductionist, setting up straw men. I'm not saying these criticisms are wrong, but I'm not trying to meet these standards and failing. I'm trying to miss these expectations in the least harmful way to create a balance between the YouTube algorithm and to reach a large audience with a 90-second attention span. At this point, I'm avoiding anything that looks like a lecture. I'm doing my best to make it rough, raw, relatable, and at ground level, but still sort of linked to the academic philosophy that I want people to get to. The side that wants you to follow and not think lives by reductionism. It's time we used it in a controlled manner, by the way, to gain some power toward productive ends. I'm not trying to meet anybody's expectations. There's always those gatekeepers who go to the show and they say, my cousin plays guitar better than you, or I know another guy who's really good. Yeah, that's great, but that's not you. You don't gain that person's power just because you saw them once or whatever it is that you think. When you criticize somebody's work, take a good hard look at what it is you do, not who you know or who you've seen. Okay, talking a little bit about comments. I spent a lot of time on the channel. I'm not going to leave your comment up if you wreck the potential productive outcomes in the discussion threads. In other words, if you don't present an argument, you don't refer directly to what you're talking about in the video, I'll remove the comment. I talked about why I have to do the things the way that I do them at the moment. Many of the factors are beyond my control. I have to do the best I can under heavy limitation, and I do think the outcomes are helpful. Even I'd go as far as to say exciting and interesting as well as experimental and new. So one thing I wanted to talk about is my old friend. He's not with us anymore, but he was my favorite discussion partner, and we'd always read the same books. He was more into like Zizek and Lacan, more psychoanalytical, and I've always been like a general philosopher. I just totally refer to myself as a general philosopher. I'm hovering more around like definitions, what people think you're supposed to know, why they think you're supposed to know it, rather than the symbolic or, you know, like reading Dostoevsky or something like that, where it's like using narratives to make points. I'm more direct, okay? I don't want there to be any question or particularity in my outcomes. I want my outcomes to be absolutely universal. Sort of think that I've been born to do that because I've been doing that since I was young. And it's just sort of grown over the years into what it is now, and it doesn't have to grow anymore. This is the best way I can describe it. We would sit and talk about these subjects. That was the most pleasure that I got from philosophy, was just sitting with him talking about things back and forth, learning the things that he'd read, you know, talking about the things that I'd read, and then using those ideas. That's the kind of attitude I want to get across to people, the viewers that are watching this channel. Not the lecture where you're here in a college class learning about the subject. That kind of dry, no art, type of legalistic delivery. I want to get away from that as much as possible. I want to be as close to the friends talking about things that they've studied type context, okay? That is the heart of philosophy, the way the ancient Greeks did it. And it's only going to be a one-sided conversation. I have the comment section, but I will say YouTube's comment section is the most horrendous garbage pile of crap. I almost want to turn the comments off completely, but I know that ultimately it'll hurt the engagement rating. So I'm not going to do that. But I do. YouTube's comment section is horrendous. I do not understand why they don't fix it. At some point, I may point to a Discord when there's more people, but it's going to be a one-way conversation. But I'm going to do the best that I can do to make it more ground level. There's nothing I can do about concepts that have big word names. Just look them up and understand what they are. I don't want to have to describe what epistemology is, what ontology is, what virtue ethics is necessarily. I want to just be able to say axiology, and then get on to the next point. It's depends on the point you're making. It's relational. So it's better to leave the big words in and just nudge you guys to look it up in the dictionary. Honestly, it's only 6 months of dictionary work before you don't even have to hardly look things up anymore. If you've made it this far, I'm looking for investors to start a digital currency and integrate it with my pure democratic model at civilsimian.com. It should also be, I also want to integrate that with an online free educational system, that all works together with badges where it's a true meritocracy, but, the latter is free for all. So that's something I'm working on. I've been looking for angel investors for a long time. So anybody who knows any rich people might give me a call. I have the business plan and everything. Shoot me an email at AxiomaticPanic@gmail.com. My pure democracy web at civilsimian.com.